This is the one with gimpy Robo-men.
One really good explosion and a whole packet of dolly mixture.
And only one genuinely attractive actor.
All framed in the beautiful countryside of Bedfordshire.
It's called Daleks, Invasion of Earth, 2150 AD.
Copyright Sugar Pops.
Here we go.
We're embarking on a voyage all through time and all through space.
Encountering Daleks, Thal Ood, and the Cybertronic race.
Sontarans look like taters and Silurians all have wonky scales.
And the Doctor has a TARDIS, we're reviewing all his tales. Who back when? Reviewing all of who there is. Who back when?
Subscribe and rate on iTunes, please.
Episode by episode, we're trudging down this temporal road. Come join us on this odyssey. What other choice could there be than Who back when?
Who back when?
Welcome, Whovians, to another episode of Who Back When.
A Doctor Who podcast.
Absolutely, the second episode of more Cushing for the pushing. But this is the second film of the Peter Cushing, the non-canonical Peter Cushing Doctor.
The unfinished trilogy.
Indeed it is.
Yeah.
Hang on, wait. People are getting a little bit confused. We are who? Starting on our rights.
What's my name again?
Rawmeister. That is the Rawmeister. That's what he sounds like. In the middle.
Nicolele, you've
Yes,
seen
you
me
are.
from previous episodes and co-hosting. Oh, I don't even know. Am I now classic Who, new Who? I'm basically everywhere. Come get at me.
Wow.
Classic co-host.
Classic co-host.
Holy shit.
I'm here now.
Wow. It's taking over.
Yeah. And ended up on the left, the guy that starts it all.
I'm Ponkin.
There he is.
Yeah, you know.
So if you've got your earbuds the wrong way round, he's on the
And just to confuse matters more, we're releasing this podcast in mono.
Yeah. As you can see, we've got copious amounts of notes to get through. A fairly structured podcast. It won't in any way be off the cuff.
Yeah, not at all. Here's just a tiny little note to make before we start with this film review. It's based, as you probably already know, it's based on a classic Hartnell episode called The Dalek Invasion of Earth, which is a fantastic episode, so you need to see that. And we have reviewed it on Who Back When, and for that reason, not really sure we're going to go through every single plot point in this review. So have a listen to that original review.
Let's definitely not go through plot point.
Yeah.
Plot point. We have far too much respect for you listeners. But just to say that the original received massively great reviews from both Flapjack and Ponkin.
Yeah, I gave it 4.7 or 4.8.
Yeah, I think Flapjack gave it 4.8, you may have given it 4.7, something like
yeah,
that. It was,
something like
crazy.
And I stand by it. I love The Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Yeah, so this must have been a great treat for you.
It was. An even greater treat was, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert, we just watched the Riff Tracks version of this film, which made it a lot more bearable.
It was amazing, but it did pretty much shit on my childhood, is how I felt about it. Every second. So,
it also makes it a little bit more difficult to, we are now, I think, all of us mindful not to rip off their jokes.
Absolutely. Which sucks, because I wanted to make some of those jokes. But, but anyway, to provide a little bit of context, sort of in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s,
this a
we had... No. This is just my own personal context.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
We had the two of the both movies, Cushing movies on VHS, and I would have watched them ad nauseum as a child, just like straight through, rewind it, back through, over and over. It was very much for some reason part of my identity as a toddler, it seems. So yeah, watching the Riff Tracks version was tough.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was okay, but it's like, yeah, that was shit, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, since we're probably about to shit all over this film again.
Cool,
now,
let's do it.
I think Riff Tracks are... They're
off the hook.
That much of a scar.
Yeah, they're off the hook. They're fine.
Shall we improvise a B-scowl?
Absolutely, let's.
All right.
Where did we leave off with the old movie? Let's start.
Oh, this has nothing to do with that
No,
movie.
but let's just say we'll start off so we can say how much of a departure.
Well, the
second
Daleks have been
movie.
destroyed at the end of the
Yes,
first
absolutely.
Yeah,
They were...
and that is set way in the future, the actual death of the Daleks,
Yeah.
right? So in this case, we've already established Cushing as the Doctor, so when he turns up, we don't know that he's the Doctor, we don't know anything else.
Established him as a Doctor.
A Doctor. Oh, sorry, he is Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hugh Who, I believe you suggested in the original. He is no longer accompanied by Ian and Barbara. He is now accompanied by Susan, the granddaughter, still, and some chick named Louise.
Yeah, she actually has absolutely no background. There is no exposition on
She is
Louise.
referred to as Susan's cousin at some point.
It was very much like someone thought, we need some eye candy in this
That
film.
raises
Yeah.
more questions than it answers.
By the way, show of hands, I totally would.
Absolutely, 100%.
Certainly out of everyone else in this movie.
I don't know, I've got a soft spot for Bernard Cribbins, so let's just leave it at that.
Anyway, okay, so they materialize in 1966 just as a diamond heist is taking place. A single solitary Bobby tries to stop the robbers, is knocked out, stumbles into the TARDIS, and is promptly kidnapped by the Doctor and co.
Yeah, what a shitty Tuesday for Bernard Cribbins there.
He took it like a pretty standard Tuesday, though.
He really did. So he's been kidnapped, and then he materializes in 2150 AD, where London has been reduced to rubble. He doesn't seem to be fussed at all with this, but then we're quickly introduced to the idea that the Daleks
Have taken over.
Have laid waste to the. I think we're supposed to extrapolate Earth, but certainly London in England in general.
And what follows is an adventure.
Hilarity.
Hilarity.
Quite a lot of death.
Yeah.
A lot of death.
Quite a lot.
A lot of violence. One dude's chest is set on fire.
That's true.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the whole film, much like the original, is now the Doctor and his new companions are going to try to save or help humanity save themselves and rid themselves of their captors, the Daleks.
A damn fine job they do of it, too.
End of B-Scout, you are welcome.
I'm glad you all got that. Okay, so I reckon we've got to start with the Bobby, with Bernard Cribbins.
I was going to say,
the idea of him as our ward, our protagonist. I don't know. I guess nominally he's that. It's certainly not as focused around the Doctor as you might ever think it would be, for lots of reasons. Apparently, one being that he was ill during quite a lot of the filming, so they had to cut down his screen time and do a lot of rewriting. But also,
on IMDb they said that they had to just stop all of production for like a whole week because Cushing was under the weather. Yeah. But just something else about Cribbins is this is his first appearance on Doctor Who.
Yes.
Or in the Doctor Who universe, even though this is completely non-canonical.
Absolutely. To become a Doctor Who legend.
Yeah.
In the end.
Exactly. So this is what it started with, which is really weird because it's not necessarily the best movie.
No.
And not even official. And then later on he turns up, he returns with Tennant, he returns in Audio Adventures.
Yeah.
So, he's a veteran.
Yeah, absolutely. But the sort of character, we're led into the TARDIS with him and we're led out with him. So actually our experiences as the audience are.
He bookends it.
Yeah, absolutely. He takes us through the whole journey and then we're sort of spat out back into modern day London, with Cribbins. But I don't know, him as a character, starting off, he is ploddy and kind of,
I thought he was pretty take charge.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
In a sort of inept way.
In a
absolutely.
way that you might think a Bobby on the Beat would be.
A comedy,
I don't know about that.
60s Bobby on the beat.
Absolutely. A bawdy, like he's going to make some terrible sexual innuendos at any point.
Yeah.
Like a carry-on film.
Well, he definitely shows a lot of range. He goes from beating the shit out of people.
That's showing a lot of rage.
Nice.
Touche. So he goes from beating the shit out of people, certainly, spoiler alert, at the end, he just batons the robbers in the car, right?
Yeah.
To doing the most slapsticky, weird dance with the Robo Man.
So it's kind of like a Pilgrim's Progress for him.
A little.
Did you get that?
Foreigner. Yes, that's a stretch, but no, fair enough. But no, generally, he was quite nonplussed about being, figuring out in the same day that one can time travel. Time travel exists.
Yeah. And Earth or humanity is doomed to be enslaved. And largely killed off.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that if that was the 40th century, like crazy far in the future.
Yeah, then it'd be like, you know what? Hey, take it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. But if they're showing 150 years, people your grandchildren will eventually go through it, or your grandchildren. Show some fucking empathy, compassion. He's just that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're expecting a policeman to show some empathy and compassion then.
This got super... that got super political.
I'm just trying to be funny.
We're definitely not going to talk about the institutional racism or sexism within the Metropolitan Police Force. That's not going to happen. Sorry, excuse me, beer opening.
For those playing along at home, you should
Yes.
open a beer as well.
Absolutely, if that's your thing. Anyway, so yeah, Bernard Cribbins he just takes things far too much. As a child, I think I would have watched that and just thought, I don't know, you're meant to spend so much more disbelief, I think, in the 60s through 80s than you are now. Like, what the fuck are you going to do? Watch another Doctor Who movie? This is the one you're getting, motherfuckers.
I think Cribbins in this context needs to be compared to two other characters. He needs to be compared to Ian, who was the alpha male, like take chargey male companion in the original serial.
Right.
And to what's-his-face, who played Ian in an incredibly slapsticky way in the first Cushing movie. So he had, I was going to say, he has big shoes to fill in both cases, but he doesn't. He's, however, a massive departure from both characters. Like, he doesn't have a personal connection to Barbara in the Cushing sense, where Ian was constantly trying to bang her.
Either of the Ians, they didn't have a job, did they? Or like
they're the teachers. Well, the original is a teacher. The original is a teacher. In the first Cushing film, I don't think they had jobs. Like,
so it's actually more of a graduation of authorities. Like, teachers are authoritative, and he's like, it's like, policeman's more authoritative. Let's whack him in. I think that's probably what they were trying to achieve there.
Well, he's definitely shown to be an ineffective policeman at the beginning.
In the beginning, yeah. Then at the end, however, he's like, you know what? This is going to cause a massive fucking paradox that's going to tear the universe apart, but do please put me a few minutes ahead of time so that I can kill these dudes, arrest them dead or alive or whatever, and then, make Chief Inspector.
I love the idea that he's like... think of us all right now. We've all got fairly, a narrow limitation on what we can experience. It's all very terrestrial. It's all within. And he has just transcended all of space and time.
The only thing he can think of is his career.
Yeah, all he can think of is just like getting that next rung up. It's just like, hey, I just lurched forward 200 fucking years. I imagine there's other cool stuff to do. Let's do those things. Right? It's just like, let's make Detective Inspector. I hope it's ham and chips tonight. What the fuck?
So much like Marty McFly in Back to the Future, he gives himself the minimal amount of time he could possibly need to fix his problem.
It's always,
It actually works for him in this context.
It does, yeah. But it is weird. I mean, there must be a paradox here. He doesn't, or we at least, don't see himself.
No, that surprised me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Budgetary limitations, possibly.
Or possibly he's now replaced his prior self along the timeline, thus...
But then nothing happens.
Preventing himself from going into the TARDIS.
Paradox right there.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, okay, fuck that nonsense. Check this out. The Doctor and Louise, whoever she is... God, I want to bang her. And...
You stop it.
And Susan, who is still a child, just as in the first Cushing movie, as opposed to the original serial, they have very clearly set their sights on going to 2150. Like, we are going to 2150 AD in London, this exact block.
Yes.
Right? They know this. It seems to me that if the Daleks enslave all of Earth, that's probably going to show up on an almanac somewhere.
That's more than a fortnight's worth of work, isn't it? Like, that's like, that's got to take a year, maybe like 18 months if you've got a really shitty project manager.
Yeah, it's like, it's a massive thing, and they are all mega surprised.
This happened.
It's as though they picked 2150 because it's like, that's that one point in human history that we have no idea about. Let's just go there.
Let's go to 2150. There was a really good Wimbledon final that year. And just, turn up and they're like, fuck, it's like downtown Grozny. What is it?
I have a theory about 2150, actually.
Oh, yeah? Go for it.
Given that, we see a lot of what we maybe see as anachronistic technology in this, old radios and such. Yeah. Stuff that we clearly know will be replaced.
Neckties.
Yeah. Well... I figure that shortly before the Daleks took over, the hipsters took over.
Holy crap. Oh, that's amazing. All of podcast land is covered in cerebral matter. You just blew so many minds.
So if you think about it, 2150, basically the entire world looks like Williamsburg. Having said that, I've been to Williamsburg. It's fucking lovely. Hipsters like really nice stuff.
They do.
I know, that's what it is.
Yes, they do.
I had a really nice cup of coffee, I had some chicken and waffles, and beer out of a fucking mason jar. Why is that the hipster thing? It's just a jar! We've invented glasses! Anyway, we're getting off topic. That's
I still don't understand why we abandoned the idea or the notion of tankards, because having a handle on anything is great. In fact, let's have more handles on stuff.
I think it was that, and this might be our problem in England that we've just imparted the rest of the world, that having a handle on your beer, on your glass,
the gesture you're making
makes it way easier.
I think giving a hand job would be so much easier if I had a handle on my dick.
Anyway, A, yes, and B, the reason that the handle was probably discontinued is because we kept glassing each other. Yeah. In fact, almost 100% as to why.
I feel like this is a bit of a tangent, ladies and gentlemen, but I do feel like removing the handle actually improves the aerodynamics of this glass projectile.
I'm sorry, the image of the handle on the dick has made me think of, when people like stretch out their earlobes and they then take the thing out.
Yeah.
It's just okay. That's what handle on your dick.
Oh, I'm so aroused right now.
In no way related to Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150. Okay. I like the theory that hipsters we basically do the retrospective technology thing to a fault.
Yes.
And fair enough.
Also, and this will lead into a bit of trivia that we looked up just before we pressed record, sugar puffs all over the place. They're freaking littering the place in 2150.
Do you know what's weird? Is that as a child, I ate a fuckload of sugar puffs.
Yeah. Subliminal messaging, dude.
It must have been. I was like, Mom, I really need some sugar puffs. I don't know why. Let's put Cushing on again.
It's actually it seems like a missed opportunity for sugar puffs that the food that the Robo men were given
wasn't sugar puffs.
Why was it not bowls of sugar puffs? Really?
Oh, I have a bone to pick with that scene, by the way, the jelly bean scene. But yeah, okay, so the bit of trivia that we looked up just before we pressed record was that this film was largely produced by or sponsored by Quaker Oats.
Yes, yeah.
Makers of sugar puffs.
Sugar puffs and a lot of other fine cereal.
Yeah, and thus in the future, in 2150 AD, in post-apocalyptic London, there are sugar puff posters all over the place.
Quite prominently, like centre of shot. Just like, sorry, Peter, could you just slightly left?
You're obscuring the poster.
Sugar puffs. Interestingly, 1960s, no sugar puff monster. There you go.
Oh.
Right. There wasn't one there. I mean, assuming
when was that character created?
I have no idea, but
it's like we will never speak of the honey monster again.
Yes. Okay.
Humanity agrees that in 10 years' time. It was a mistake.
Yeah. So, speaking of slow burning energy,
yeah.
I don't know. Sugar puffs will give you diabetes.
Quaker Oats. So, it was actually a fairly slow progression through the plot. There's one major plot point, really, other than them turning up.
What? You mean the let's go to the mine and...
Yeah. And it took fucking ages to get to Bedfordshire.
Yeah, but what? It's the same in the... Have you guys seen the original serial?
Yeah. No.
It's fine if you haven't seen it.
Of course not.
The plot is basically the same. However, they've taken out bits that kind of made sense back in the original serial. But what I was going to say was that is like a 6 or 7 episode arc, and they don't get to Bedfordshire until like episode 5.
Right.
Yeah, so the whole thing is very much like, let's hang out in London, and then there's like a whole episode, let's get out of London. Let's, they hijack a truck and travel through the countryside.
Yeah. Not a Bedford truck. Okay, that's a too colloquial a joke to make.
I didn't say that.
Sorry.
Someone out there got that.
I'm going to pop in because I think most of our listeners are sort of, worldly and from around the world. So, and just to explain how a nonsense a fucking place Bedfordshire would be to have, like, to plan your destruction of the world around. Yeah. It's just the blandest place. It's like, I can't...
Hello, all listeners in Bedfordshire.
I'm sorry. It's a fine... It's a fine fucking county. It is absolutely fine. But I remember as a child thinking that was odd. Why fucking Bedfordshire? They have to bypass Watford as well, because Watford are where all the Daleks are.
I'm English. I don't know anything about Bedfordshire.
Absolutely.
Sorry, do you mean by bypassing Watford? Do you mean by following that red line that had already been drawn onto the map with a red pen without actually contributing to the scene in any way possible?
Who drew the line? Who knew there were Daleks in Watford?
No one. Actually, no. I take it back. It's Professor Xavier. It's the dude in the wheelchair.
Are you sure it wasn't the Ordnance Survey guys just ahead at like they're really, really fastidious? Just like instead of having like the little fork and knife of where like a diner would be, there's just like Daleks on your atlas. Okay.
Perhaps it was for orienteering.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming that it was the map that... Oh, we're just jumping all over the place here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
but I'm assuming it's the map that, whatever his face, Dortmund, was...
Dortmund?
Yeah, his name is Dortmund. In our original review, Jack actually refers to him as Dortmund. But yeah, the dude in the wheelchair. Because it was
Dortmund?
Yeah, his name was Dortmund.
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay.
It was his map and all of his, like, papers that the doctor was going through, right? Because he said, like, oh, no, his theories are very good, but, you know, none of them proved conclusive in any way.
Yeah.
Presumably, Dortmund made those lines. So why do we then get a scene of the doctor with a red pen that just materialized from nowhere, following the lines really slowly, like, oh, I'm going to see if I can reach the end of this. Where does it lead? I don't know where it's going to lead. Instead of just fucking looking at the map and going like, there's a circle around bloody Bedford.
I feel like someone just going, G7, motherfucker, we could have like shaved off.
Oh, you sunk my battle. Mine.
Absolutely. As well as Susan works that out just of her own volition. She's like 10. She's like, no, we're not going Watford. That seems stupid. No one's going to go Watford.
No, it's a good thing that they didn't go because no one paid attention to that massive, stupidly huge message that she wrote on the doors.
I blame Cushing's cataracts.
What about David? The young man who was with
no excuse.
Okay, so hang on, check this out. Ladies and gentlemen of Podcast Land, if you have seen the original serial, this will not be news to you. If you haven't, this is a massive spoiler. So, in the original serial, Susan, who is here a child, she's not a child. She's meant to be like 16 or 17, as in she's not a 10-year-old, she's 16, 17, played by a 25-year-old or whatever. And thus, David, that young man, is her love interest in the serial. And the massively important, like canonically important element of the original serial is that it's where Susan leaves the show. So, at the end of everything, they've beaten the Daleks, obviously. She has had 6 or 7 episodes to fall in love with David. And the Doctor basically just goes, you know what? You need to stay here and repopulate the Earth. You clearly like this Dave dude. Stay with him and be a farmer. And then they fuck off.
I believe this was a horrible deleted scene in the movies.
David and the 10-year-old. Oh, it's the kind of mental agony that makes your balls cringe. Anyway.
So much of my fucking childhood is being reappropriated by horrible things. Just leave a little.
I have no emotional attachment to this whatsoever, I'm afraid.
Oh man, I'm just going to focus on the dolly mixture, the plates and plates of dolly mixture.
Okay, explain the dolly mixture thing.
Okay, yeah, no, so actually, so there's a great scene, I think a great scene, of Cribbins ingratiating himself into Robo Man life. Doing the fun dance with all the Robo men set up. Actually, do you know what really annoyed me when watching it back? Is that they came in, you know, all rank and file, told the Daleks, you know, do your thing. They sit down and then immediately stand back up. It's like, motherfuckers, why sit down at all? That annoyed me. But anyway.
They also sleep sitting down.
Maybe they're saying grace.
Sitting down. Very possibly. But then they do, and also just the least efficient way to get your food. Like, you all go up, all get a plate, like, and then all do another lap to get their...
Yeah, so this is, it's definitely one, like, slapstick element of this film.
Yeah.
But that, compared to the first Cushing film, Rory, dude, in the first Cushing film, what did we, like, hate the most?
I can't remember what we hated the most.
I feel like it was all of the shitty slapstick.
The door stuff. There was lots of completely unnecessary slapstick. Like, it was the Ian character who constantly kept falling over, doing all these silly dance type things, and the equivalent of that is this one single scene.
Now, see, as a 6-year-old, I thought it was the most amazing thing that in the future we'll just be eating dolly mixture. Dolly mixture for my Swedish compatriot here is...
I'm not Swedish.
Okay, whatever.
That's the party line.
All right.
Okay.
Non-British people.
Non-Anglo. Okay. They're sort of like. How does one fucking like do?
They're jelly beans, right?
No.
Like
they're way more important than jelly
beans.
They're a mixture for a start
of
bean shade.
No, there's like sugary, pasty, like sandwichy bits, and then there's like jelly bits, and then it's just like a.
Holy shit! We're live googling
it's a
this.
Fucking melange.
I mean, they're closer
to
to licorice all sorts.
Yes.
Oh, I hate licorice.
But no licorice.
No licorice.
Oh, I could.
They're like the licorice all
Absolutely.
sorts. If you took out all the licorice,
and just had all the good stuff.
There we go.
Yes.
I could get on board with it.
Absolutely. So as like a 5-year-old, I was like, this is the best thing ever. I cannot wait for this day. Fuck the rest of humanity. Let's have the Daleks invade tomorrow. Dolly mixture would be the way forward.
Okay.
I would want some like barley sugar or something on Sunday.
Or sherbet sauces.
Ooh, no, I've never found
Our listeners in the US are just now like thinking like, holy shit, these dudes are so English.
We're talking about candy.
This is the kind of thing that if you talk about this sort of stuff in the world of Love Actually, then go to the States, say any of it out loud, you will definitely get laid. Anyway.
Done. Next time I'm in the States, or talk to someone about
care for some dolly mixture.
Dolly mixture. They're a little bit like licorice all sorts, except without the licorice. Oh my god, let's get it on. Bow chicka bow wow.
That's
anyway.
where you get arrested.
So the bone I want to pick with that scene, though. Okay, so let's put this into context. Cribbins has infiltrated the spaceship, the Dalek flying saucer. Just looking at a picture of it, of the dolly mixture. I want to eat all of that.
Right?
Yeah.
We're going to have to get some dolly mixture.
We are going to have to get some dolly mixture.
That still exists?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we're getting that.
You have to go to those like old-fashioned sweet shops.
Oh, nice.
Or a cinema.
Yeah, oldie shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can pay through the nose at the cinema.
I'd much rather pay from my wallet. Anyway, so shit. Whatever. Okay, so to put it into context, he's infiltrated the spaceship. He's wearing we need to discuss that as well, the Roboman GIMP latex outfit with the sunglasses under the visor. And now needs to act like the other Robomen in order to blend in. And what they do is they have the choreographed dance of how to get the food. That's it. What really pisses me off about this is he could totally get away with not eating this, right? Yeah. And I'm sorry to take drop a steamer on your childhood, but it is not dolly mixture. It is most likely some sort of psychedelic hormone, like it's definitely psychopharmaca, right? Like it's a drug that will keep them enslaved.
Well, maybe that explains his manic laughter at the end.
Yeah, maybe that's why he's so chill the entire time. He's been on E. He's just on MDMA the entire fucking time, and he's just really loved up. Hey, Daleks, humans, why do we fight? Yeah, maybe that's the thing. But generally, there's so many things that come out of this. I mean, so listenership, we're hoping that you've watched this previously, because otherwise this whole podcast will make no motherfucking sense.
What are you doing listening to this?
Stop, go back, watch it, go back, and then you can laugh along with us. But of all the things, the dolly mixture part, their stupid escape plan, the disposable. Do we all want to get into the disposal like chute?
I was trying to jump into some kind of giant vacuum cleaner like thing without knowing what's at the bottom. With like
massive razor blades, just chomping and cutting everything to bits at the end, which would make sense, right?
Well, absolutely. Everything we've done in the technological field of trash compacting in our own, in the human race up to where we are now, 2015. Yeah. So like, let's say it doesn't really advance for another 135 years, all that much, is about grinding and compacting shit.
Yeah. Not here. It's literally just like,
it's just out. It's just like straight out.
It's like an aeroplane toilet.
It's not like an aeroplane toilet.
That's what happens.
You said this while we were watching this.
That's what they do.
It doesn't just fly out.
Yes, it does. It does.
The thing is, like, is that why there's lots of like blue-coloured poo flying into the skies all over the place?
That is exactly what happens.
It does actually get sucked into like a freezer bit where like it all freezes into this horrible like chemical thing.
Oh, hot.
Anyway, so like armed with all the different fucking like disposal knowledge that we're all aware of, all the technology, why would you then go, we'll probably just jump down this disposal chute, it'll probably just spit us out unharmed onto
I'm trying to remember how it was in the original serial. The only thing that I do remember is that they actually fight a Roboman on board. And it's not this Louise character, because she's not even in the fucking thing. It's Ian, I want to say anyway, Ian, the doctor, and the other guy who's in the cell with them. Right? And he is turned into a Roboman. They have to fight him, and they throw him into the disposal chute. Like, while they're flying. Like, they just, fuck the corpse, right? Like, out of the spaceship. And that's it. I don't think that they then escape through it. In fact, there's like a Han Solo bit where they hide under the floorboard Lords. Which makes a lot more sense, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, that's just one of the stupid things of this movie. Just jump out of the disposal unit. But then, well, I guess we can sort of circle back to because we've cut a whole thing out there, which was the rescue mission, which was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay. All right.
Fucking grenades.
Right back to the beginning, real quick. The Doctor and Bernard, that's what I'm going to call him from now on. Tom have gone off to a warehouse to find a crowbar, whatever. The girls get captured, as is the wont for all women in the 60s.
Let's discuss this crowbar,
by
dude.
People in the BBC. Well, we'll get back to the crowbar.
Fine.
But just to say that these two have gone off to join the last human resistance in London, whilst the other two fuck about with the crowbar.
Yeah. Well, the crowbar, we talked about this while we were watching it. Like, they head into a warehouse to get a crowbar because one assumes there must be a crowbar in there, even though there are perfectly good oblong metallic objects that you could use as a crowbar around. They get a crowbar, they find a crowbar, then they just leave it behind for no reason whatsoever.
Willfully ignoring the rule of Chekhov's crowbar.
But also, like, there's no scene of them finding the crowbar. All of a sudden, Bernard Cribbins has one, but the mission to find a crowbar doesn't end there. It's like, let's walk around this warehouse a little bit longer until we find a dead Robo Man.
Fall out the door for a while.
Yeah.
That was a good scene. I liked that. It was some good physical comedy.
I wasn't
the original
expecting
as well.
that. It was good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that comedy. I would call that, like, harrowing stunt sequence.
That was mild peril, to say the least.
Yeah, I thought that was physical comedy. But anyway, so the girls have gone off to join the last human resistance, and then they've been told that, Susan says my grandfather's out there, and Bumblefuck B is out there, we
meet Wyler, who is a massive badass member of the Resistance, and who in the original serial was called Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Why change that one letter? I don't know.
Copyright, I'm assuming.
We also meet David.
David, yes.
Yeah.
David.
Was it called Wyler Bourbon?
Yeah, so
copyright.
Wyler and David, and
Professor Xavier. Dortmund.
So harsh, man. He just had to. He's been through a fucking lot.
No, but the thing is, in the original serial, he is like a professor.
The best thing about him,
it makes sense. That's why we called him.
The best thing about him, right? So we're 2150. Untold destruction has befell the world. We're at the last.
The whole planet, not just London.
The last vestigial of human resistance, and he's heading it, and he's created this assembly line, creating these weird, stupid bombs, which I've got more things to say about.
They are even worse.
I don't know whether this is pre-Dalek invasion or post-Dalek invasion, but he's in a wheelchair, which must making the human resistance even more difficult. Still wears a full fucking suit though.
Yeah, and a
full
tie.
Suit and tie. There are no job interviews here, man. You've got it. You've got the job. We don't need to
You've got to set an example.
Absolutely. Wasn't he fucking just? But yeah, he's sharply dressed, even though. But his the bombs that they make.
Yeah.
So they create these bombs which are weird, like they look
like the tail end of a rocket.
Absolutely, yeah. They look exactly like if you were going to make like a homemade rocket, just the tail end with the guidey flipper bits.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, they make loads of these things, and they're trying really hard to make loads. And then he has like a fucking vat of them in his office that he like pops into like a satchel.
It seems very irresponsible because when they actually use these, it's not like they're timed.
No.
There's like a
they're quite clearly proximity based. It's just like, she just put them here, fucking charm them.
Exactly. Let's put weight on these things. That's an incredibly bad idea because later on they just chuck them and they blow up. That's it.
Absolutely.
Breathe on the things that's going to be bad.
Yeah. Look at them funny. They'll fucking go off.
In the serial, in the original Hartnell story, the professor or whatever, Xavier, he has invented these bombs because they differ from other bombs because they can penetrate the outer casing of a Dalek.
Right.
As opposed to bullets or regular dynamite or whatever.
I see where you're going.
Which, by the way, is made of what substance? We learned that in the original serial. Daleks are made out of Dalekanium.
Right. I see where you're going with this, because there's sort of... They spent a fucking long time creating these stupid little bombs that look like the bottom side of rockets.
They don't work very well.
And loads... And did no one field test these motherfuckers? Which let's try one, this works really well, let's produce 300 of them. They went, let's just produce 300 of them and assume they work fantastically.
And they sometimes do, most often
but we
do
also
not.
discover...
Sorry, I was just about to say, this is is in opposition to the War Machines that we saw the other day, where they went through fastidious, fucking, weapons testing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder if our 60s audience would have gone, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Well, I was also going to say, we discover later on you can push over Daleks and they'll explode.
Yeah, exactly. There's one that they just like swing around. They do a little swing down session with it down a ramp. And when it lands, it just falls over, completely unprompted, Shazam, like massive explosion.
Like this?
Out from nowhere.
Somebody asked me the question. The question as to why Dalek explodes when you push it over. Go on.
Why does a Dalek explode when you push it over?
Shut up, that's why.
You know what? Story checks out.
That's the only thing that anyone was fucking thinking when they directed it.
Holy shit, speaking of ramps, there are so many ramps in this film.
It's a lot of Daleks.
Yeah. They lead so much money on. They spend so much money on ramps and stuff that we get these massive
wheelchair guy go on even one of them.
Not even one. Not even one.
I'm sorry, I apologise for the term wheelchair guy. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, he has a name, man.
It's Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund.
I'm sorry, I had to say that to get the joke in. There was no way around it.
Yes.
That's what he said.
No,
well, he called his penis a joke, unfortunately. I'll cut that bit.
Okay, yes. So Borussia Dortmund doesn't get to use any... So we had these wide expansing, 3-minute long fucking pans of these, Dalek going down ramp B.
Yeah.
Down to... Where did I park
Come on, 347!
Where did I park my car?
You're moving too quickly. We spent so much money on this ramp.
We're in the itchy lot.
Let's milk as much out of these ramps as we can.
Wide spaceship on one floor.
Yeah.
You really like that one, didn't you?
But then they wouldn't have the opposite rotating restaurant.
Oh, the restaurant, copyright riff tracks.
Yeah, that's a riff track joke. Still though, it's...
How impractical must that be when you're trying to descend the stairs from one floor to the other?
Apparently at Google they have a slide. It goes from a second floor to the first floor. I imagine that's just that.
That would be pretty cool. Dalek slide.
Dalek slide.
I'd like to see a Dalek escalator. That'd be good. They'd have to have bigger steps.
Okay, so whilst we're on the subject of the Daleks and how stupid they are, and obviously, we've been over probably in various guises.
Wait, sorry.
Okay.
You know those lifts that old people go up the stairs on?
A standard Dalek lift. Is that
That is the ideal mode of Dalek getting around.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to carry this forward by myself. Whilst these two compose themselves.
I'm going to make you listen to this later. Sorry.
We're we've quite clearly talked about the Daleks many times through the 76 podcast episodes that we've done so far. But I want to go pay particular homage to this iteration of Dalek. They are the most flamboyantly coloured.
Compared to the first Cushing movie? Are they the same? They're the same.
No, but I'm just saying they iterate that sort of class of Dalek.
They're like the Prince of Daleks.
They're the Prince of Daleks. Which, is probably a novel at some point. But no, the Daleks they're beautiful. They really are. The black and gold, the red and gold, the Command Dalek and how that filters down. In my head, kind of as a parallel to Star Trek and Command Gold and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Is what that meant as a child. I associated the colours with
makes
ranks.
Sense. In classic
the light blue ones.
You do get black and white Daleks in...
Yes, they are all black and white.
I mean the exterior casing.
So when a Dalek gets promoted, they have a ceremonial spraying.
Absolutely, but still, I think that they're... And you get to see them in a Matt Smith episode, or at least the new...
Yeah, there's the coloured ones.
The coloured ones, and I think...
They look terrible, though.
I think there's a direct parallel. I think it must be...
probably, but they look awful. They've got the different design with, the little bubble at the front.
Well, they look stupid in the Matt Smith one, but these ones are beautiful.
Yeah, they are gorgeous.
Yeah, really.
And once again, just as in the first Cushing one, we now once again have Daleks both with plungers. We have Daleks with plungers, but also Daleks with claws. Which are pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's way more sinister than a whisk.
And
got
and
that
also
one
very
right.
practical in terms of...
Scramble.
Actually, do you know what? That was probably a move by the Quaker Oats guys to make you stop eating eggs and have fucking oats instead.
Cereal for breakfast.
Yeah, some good product placement there.
And also much more practical in terms of maneuvering the machinery. Like with a claw, they could actually. There were shots of them like
They
pressing
can now
buttons and doing
operate
stuff,
them to some extent.
including pressing the total power button.
Total power!
Total power!
For the robotizing.
Robotizing is, I think...
A very weird process.
Yeah, it's, in a way, it's less cool here than it was in the original serial.
Why was Doctor Who, as we're going to continue to call him, so fucking resigned to his fate?
He really didn't resist it.
Did not give a fuck.
Yeah,
he
I'm
was
just
just
gonna
like, I'm done with this fucking level of being. I'm just going to...
I'm going to be a Robo man.
All my personality and thoughts. So it seems better, really. He didn't care.
Well, that whole section...
He thought he was getting a blow dry.
So you mean specifically when he's aboard the spaceship?
Yeah, and about to be robotized.
But there is also, like, they invested so little effort in writing his input aboard the spaceship compared to the original serial, where, like, in this case, in order to get out of the cell, you just take a fucking comb and stick it under the door.
Okay, there are so many... I'm not a scientist, but so he says they need to break the poles, like the between the door.
Yeah.
Right? A comb has slats. It doesn't break the poles. At any point,
even the most minute, even the tiniest little disruption.
If it was like
somehow...
a credit card, that'd make a vaguish amount of sense.
It's still rubbish. It's still utter garbage. In the original serial, he's like, why is there this weird glass box with metal things inside of it? Oh, it must be magnetic. Let's turn something into an electromagnet and pull metal. Like, it's a seriously elaborate thing that is 99% technobabble. But at least you go, it took someone clever to figure this out. In this case, it's just like, it took someone who isn't bald and thus carries a comb around to figure this out.
Yeah. Also, it must be, so when they escape from the cell, that is the Dalek saying that you've passed the intelligence test.
Yeah.
Which means
congratulations.
All of the Robo-men before them must have passed that intelligence test. So every one of them have already thought this out without you, Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly.
So clearly at some point in the future, carrying a comb about your person comes back to being a thing people do.
Yes, yes, and I welcome that day with open arms.
Me too, actually. I see a guy combing his hair in the toilet, I think, you're from a different era, aren't you? I'm a little bit jealous.
And then I just hold him. Just make sure he's okay. But to be honest, time travel doesn't freak people out anymore.
No.
You just be like, yeah, I'm actually from the 50s, don't worry about it.
Can you imagine if they'd managed to get James Dean in a Doctor Who? I don't know where that came from.
James Dean?
I was just thinking about someone
combing their hair in a gentleman's convenience.
Yeah, he probably would have done that.
Anyway.
Of all the men I'd like to encounter in a gentleman's convenience while they quaff themselves, James Dean, top of the list.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're at this. So we're heading for Bedford. Generally, loads of things have happened: spaceship, non-spaceship, being captured, not captured.
Yeah.
Sort of in and out of peril on a frame by frame basis. And now we're heading to Bedfordshire because there's a mine there. Borussia Dortmund thought that there's something was going to happen in the mine. Doctor concurs. They're all going to the mine.
Yeah.
Susan somehow just figures that out by her damn self.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, everything here points to Bedford.
Let's go fucking Bedford.
Shit is happening there.
It's like, I thought we were going to Watford. Nah, fuck that.
Clearly, the Doctor will have made the same deduction. But okay, hang on. Just realised another discrepancy from Hartnell's. There is an entirely other female character in the serial called, she's referred to as Balaclava in the review. I can't remember what her name is. She's a total bitch.
Sexist.
No, she is an actual B word. She is so disparaging towards Barbara in this case. Because, remember, we don't have Barbara anymore. Right. So, in the original, it's not little Susan and Wyler/Tyler who take a truck. It's Barbara and Balaclava. So it's the whole adventure of going through, going across the countryside, encountering Daleks, meeting the two women in the cottage who then betray them and blah blah.
Let's call them sirens.
Sirens, yeah. Meeting the two retired sirens in Bedfordshire.
Whole new spin on that scene.
No, but that whole story arc is... That's like, especially for the 60s, quite empowering. Because you have two alpha females doing that. In this case, you have an alpha male who's kind of being bossed around by the Wunderkind Susan, but you still have, like, it requires the dude with a 1,000-yard stare to get across the countryside.
Yeah, badass scene, actually, when they were escaping from the... When Borussia Dortmund goes and, like, you know, Harry carries himself with...
I hate that scene. Hate that scene.
To help them get away in their bread van.
How does it save them any time? How does it...
It saves them absolutely
no time.
But because they quite clearly encounter 40 Daleks on the way out.
Yeah.
But the best thing about that, the trivia-wise, is that... So the screen shatters and he punches through the screen to see... Yeah. The actual actor did that and broke his fucking wrist. That's so badass.
Very awesome.
Did they not have, like, sugar glass then?
Apparently not. Apparently he just
punched through a windscreen.
Andy, we're gonna put in sugar glass. Why are you like...
It was just a rehearsal. Did we film this? Yes, brilliant.
Yeah. And he just carries on. He is DiCaprio in Django Unchained, but it's so weird because he picks up some sort of... It looks like a tin of tuna or something.
Like a brick or something, yeah.
Is it a brick?
I thought it was.
Oh, whatever it is. Like, he doesn't just, like, punch through the glass. He picks up an object.
Yeah, he makes a perfect rectangular window.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's like the perfect... It's like a cartoon, whatever. A cartoon character ran through a wall and you see the cutouts or the outline.
Well, we have that later as well with a Dalek, don't we?
Oh, you're right. Yes, very true. Oh, okay.
So much. Okay, so we're going to Bedfordshire because there's a mine in Bedfordshire, apparently, that centres around the Daleks' master plan, which is to... Okay, if I've got this correctly, and I'm going to try to do this in one take, and you all can stop me if I'm wrong, is to explode some sort of device at a fault in the Earth's crust to extract the metal core so they can use the Earth like a spaceship.
That's exactly
that's
right.
What I got from that.
What the fuck does any of that mean?
Exactly what they were doing in the original one.
So
let's replace the core with a fucking propeller and use this as a Winnebago because that makes perfect sense and the Earth is the perfect size and shape for it.
Unless I missed something. They've already got a spaceship.
Yeah,
spaceships.
They came to the Earth in spaceships.
But
maybe their plan is to take the Earth, turn it into a spaceship, so that they can then sneak up to other planets. Okay. It's like no, we've always been there.
They've quite clearly got issues around Girth because it's it's not the biggest spaceship, is it? That's probably the issue. But no, there's more to this. I think even as a child, I thought, well, our core is like molten cobalt and like iron and shit. If you extract it,
the Earth is
there's not going to be much Earth left.
Well, not even just that.
It's not going to hold together.
It's white hot.
Yeah,
just removing it. Like it's not like taking a fucking pasty out of the oven. It's going to be...
No, dude, I beg to differ. It is nothing that a few thousand human geriatric slaves can't carry around in wicker baskets.
I'm imagining Pompeii with Daleks now.
Okay, so that's one thing.
There's a Pompeii episode.
I'm sure there was a...
with Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Karen Gillan.
Yes.
Anyway, so after I don't know what they're like. It doesn't actually tell you because that's just our goal. It's not the end goal, right? Like so. Okay.
No, it seems to me like that is the end goal. We don't know what they're gonna do.
They just want to be pimping in the fucking Earth as their Cadillac, fucking want an arm out the window.
Out of Bedfordshire.
Whilst they
a hole in Bedfordshire.
Whilst they the parade Earth around the solar system at like a few 100,000 miles an hour, real slow, just so every other planet can see.
Are they also aware if they do that, they're going to freeze quite quickly?
And also gravity.
Depending on which direction they go in. A lot of stuff's not going to work for them once they start moving the Earth out of its very precarious orbit.
That's a very good point. Gravity. Just lots of things.
There's many things that are going to go wrong.
Why they need an Earth-sized spaceship is...
never explained.
Absolutely not.
Never explained.
Yeah. But generally speaking, so they want to extract the core... I don't know how, because the core's
wicker baskets, dude.
Yeah, but it's not like an apple. Doesn't have an actual core. It's all multi-cobalt and shit.
It seemed to me like it was pretty straightforward. Like, you take human beings, you ferry them down a few 100 meters.
humans actually digging down to the... I mean, sooner or later, they're not going to survive.
In the Hartnell series, you actually see people with pickaxes.
To be fair, I think they're just digging out to the fault in the crust.
See, that was actually... Yeah, you're right, and that was justified in this one, not in Hartnell's.
Fair enough.
Yeah, anyway. And also the end of the Daleks is justified in this one. Spoiler alert. Like the whole thing of, we detonated slightly incorrectly and therefore now the magnetic core of the Earth will actually kill all the Daleks.
Yeah, but only the Daleks on Earth.
Sorry?
Only the Daleks on Earth.
Does
in
this
the one in the
affect-
first
Sure.
one, all Daleks.
Does this affect the timeline of the first movie by them intervening here?
Yes.
Does this not
Holy shit, yes.
potentially stop the first movie from happening?
I think this goes under the heading of,
Sorry, I hate to bring
I don't think
paradoxes
anyone else
into
is
it,
going to
I'm
ask this
sorry.
question, so let's just not.
There's a whole lot of inevitable paradoxes in this franchise.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question.
Nick, just out of curiosity, how come this doesn't affect the timeline?
Because shut up, that's why.
Oh, okay. Nicely clarified.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've reached Bedfordshire.
Yeah.
All of the parties by various ways. So Susan and what's his name? Thompson?
Tom.
No, Tom.
Tom Campbell in the original, David Campbell.
David Campbell, okay, important.
Wonder why they changed it.
So they get captured by Daleks and then taken to the Bedfordshire mines. The Doctor and... what's that dickhead's name? The one with the rifle.
Weiler.
They get...
No! Holy fuck! That's someone we need to talk about.
What, the
dude,
shyster?
Yeah, the dude who's dressed like he's gonna go flash people.
No, he looks
then
like...
solve a mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks like a PI. Like, for all the minds in all the world. Like,
Humphrey Bogart.
These Daleks had to stumble into
Creepy
man.
Humphrey Bogart.
creepy Humphrey Bogart.
That smile as well.
Absolutely. So anyway, so at some point, Doctor and that guy, they encounter
Dave.
They encounter
Gorilla
this weird, like you said, sort of Bugsy Malone escapee. That is, he explains to them that he goes into the mines on a daily basis to sell food.
Yeah.
But that stopped us. We paused that for a second and we thought, sell for what? This is like dystopian England. What possible value could anything have other than food?
Dystopian Bedfordshire.
Dystopian Bedfordshire. That's the only time that's ever been said. Dystopian Bedfordshire. And apparently he sells them
Judging
for
by
jewellery.
what you said before, by the way, that's like present day Bedford.
Yes. No, it's not. It's not bad. Bedfordshire is a perfectly fine county, but I don't know why that would be like, you spent, so I understand that the budget was about 300 grand in the 60s. So that's, many millions.
Tons of money.
Why that would be your, locale.
Yeah, but it's a remake of a Hartnell serial that probably, and that's what really weirded me out about the first Cushing movie as well. It's a remake of a Hartnell serial that I'm guessing a large portion of the audience would have seen.
I guess so, but
they would have recognised it.
And people would have been
in the
angry
original,
if it had been
there is
elsewhere.
sorry?
People would have been angry if they changed that detail.
It wasn't Bedfordshire.
Well, very possibly they would have been. They'd be like, well, this is like a continuity error in a way.
I know, if it was me, I would pick something...
that kind of stuff back then.
If I was going to pick
assuming they did, like,
place.
Hertfordshire, fuck.
No one would
Bedfordshire
know,
was
they
there
didn't
in
have
the
the
original. The dude, the Bugsy Malone was in the original as well. What they changed about Bugsy Malone in this one is how he dies.
Yes, okay, wait.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Actually, I would, if I was going to pick a
around.
mining place, why not like Wales, where like it's literally fucking picturesque and crazy? Like, anyway.
Dystopian Wales.
Dystopian Wales. Yeah, Dystopian Bedfordshire.
Dystopian Wales.
Dystopian Wales.
No one would have taken the film seriously.
Daleks.
Apologies to any Welsh listeners.
Sorry, yeah, that's the best Welsh I can ever do.
They just, the film would have been too long pronouncing the place name.
Anyhow, okay.
Right, carry on.
So where we were is this shyster is selling food for jewellery, which again I couldn't really establish the value of jewellery.
Especially that jewellery, it looked shit.
He was rocking a particularly great sovereign himself.
Every single ring and necklace that the mining slaves have been smuggling in their assholes for the past few months that they spent underground has been spent on tinned food. So the shit
shit jewelry that we see, that's the last little bit of bling that they have left.
But why? Like, why is that going to be useful to this shot? Like,
this guy's clearly a fetishist.
He must be. He must just really like how good he looks.
Yeah.
He's just really... Because, like, presumably, if he has access to ready amounts of food, and food being the most precious commodity on planet
he doesn't need to do
why
all
doesn't
this
he
stuff?
just keep the fucking food?
Yeah, and stay there. If he's going to be a selfish B-word, then just do that.
Anyway,
yes.
Just ask yourself why, Nick.
Okay. I think I need you to...
Nick.
Let me ask the question, and then you guys can... Why does this guy need to exchange his food for jewellery?
Because shut up. That's why.
That's all clear to me now, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so...
And I think if you do the maths, you'll come to the same conclusion.
So this guy, he strikes a bargain to smuggle them in to the mine.
Yeah.
The Doctor and Dave. And that's how they get to Bedfordshire.
Yeah, and clearly because he wants to do more or less the same thing as the two women in the
Sirens.
Yeah, the Sirens. So the Sirens, they exchanged... It's a terrible name for them. A terrible name.
The police sirens.
The Sirens, they exchanged their fellow humans for more food, right?
Yes.
Very possibly, this is how Bugsy Malone gets a hold of all the food that he then sells.
Very possibly. Then what does he do with the jewellery is the problem.
The jewelry is his end goal. Like, so he's gonna find humans, trade them for food, trade the food for jewelry, get the fuck out of Dodge.
And then just Liberace up.
Yeah, that's it. That's his whole plan.
If only this had been a diamond.
7 rings.
Then he'd be so conflicted.
Oh, wow. Conflict diamonds in Bedfordshire.
Anyway.
Okay, right. So the way that he dies here, he when he finally encounters the Doctor, blah, 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 takes him to the mine, yada, 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 then sells out the Doctor to the Daleks. And he's just standing outside this little cottage like he's the coolest dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, seriously, he's like, there is not a care in the world. He's like, yeah, I told you fucking Daleks I was going to get the Doctor. You didn't believe me? Up yours.
I feel like he's chilling, smoking a cigarette, like he's not read the latest literature in the 60s. Like he was definitely a part of that generation.
He's a long life ahead of him.
Yeah, he was part of that generation that was like, smoking's good for me.
Yeah. And then there's like this sort of Roadrunner-esque moment of realization where he's like, holy shit, they're actually going to kill me now.
But there is no moment of realization.
No.
He's smoking a cigarette, and then all of a sudden he's shit-telling into the house. There's no moment in between.
There is a moment.
Miss it.
No, in between, there is a moment where I think the correct transcription of the thought process that he undergoes is plop.
Yeah.
Like, he just, all of a sudden, he just goes, huh?
I feel like it was planned. I feel like in his head he was just like, I'm just going to chill, and before they know it, I'll be gone. But the problem is that he goes he runs into a fucking...
He goes in because he knows they're going to kill him.
Yeah, but it's made out of fucking plywood.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm safe behind this, like, little, like, this bit of compressed wood, like...
Yeah, he panics. He panics. And weirdly, they fire their, like, smoke weapons at it, and it explodes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, here's a discrepancy from the original. The Daleks in the original serial had brought along a slave creature called the Slither, which was this massive, fucking, really, really scary-looking monster that ended up eating that guy. Like, eating him alive. So he, like, he dies in both of them. But here we don't even get a monster.
Budget.
Yeah. Blew it all on sugar puffs.
If they could put it in the serial, you'd be able to get it in the film, right? The serial.
Yeah. Don't put it in the cereal.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Anyhow.
If only it had been the honey monster. Got him.
Anyhow. Okay, so that's how so the weird thing about the Doctor and his smugness, he kind of hints at a plan he has that quite clearly doesn't exist, because he's like, oh, I knew that this was happening all along.
Yeah,
like,
it's a pretty cool scene actually.
Yeah, but he quite clearly then we're coming to the apex of the story here, in which all of our, the troop are all in Bedfordshire. The Doctor's been captured by the Daleks. PC Bumblefuck is down the mines somewhere, and they're readying the bomb for the Earth's crust.
Yeah, which in the original was called the Penetrator. I think so.
I do not understand what's funny about that.
I'm pretty sure it was called the penetrator. If I may be mistaken, maybe that's just what Flapjack and I called it. But
anyway, essentially it's a giant repository for Earth's puckered arsehole. And anyway,
so aroused.
We get to the point where the Doctor is faced with the giant chasm in the Earth, and the penetrator is about to be lowered into the Earth, and instead of the normal exposition where villain tells the hero about the plan, the Doctor recounts the plan to the villain.
Yeah, but we also get a lot of standard fare Dalek exposition, where they for no reason whatsoever recount the plan to each other, even though they clearly all know what it is.
We have one hive brain.
They never write anything down, so they've got to do this.
I suppose.
It's all for auditing.
Except inside the shell, there's little Dalek blobs in there, furiously writing notes.
They all know what's going to happen. It's just for their 6-month appraisal, so they can bring it back up and show. Do you remember when I said that thing?
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. I made a note of it.
I deserve a modest raise.
Shut up, 347.
Did you like it?
Anyway, so we're at and we're coming to the end here, in which the bomb's about to be lowered.
Coming to the end, you said?
And the doctor says very loudly, because he can see the PC Bumblefuck is in the shaft of the mine.
Yeah.
To say
we missed all the shafting humour.
Oh, there's a lot of shafting.
Yeah.
I feel like we're better than that. Are we better than that?
I don't know that we are.
Have you heard the rest?
We made a lot of those jokes in the last serial anyway. It's fine.
Okay.
All right.
The Doctor very loudly. It's a good trope actually of the hero saying his plan so loudly that sort of clandestine compatriots can hear and be part of the plan.
I suppose.
So he basically says, if there's any derivation in the coordinates of the bomb,
even the flimsiest 2x4.
Even the flimsiest 2x4.
Which for no reason there is an abundance of.
Absolutely.
So he sets about work with his, they really are bits of plywood.
Everywhere. There are 2x4s literally everywhere.
In dystopian England, that's all there's left.
And this massive goddamn penetrator that is huge and probably quite heavy.
It looked like it would be heavy.
Yeah, and it's been falling hundreds of meters, right?
Yeah.
It's going to hit these 2x4s with some force. And even if it doesn't...
I feel like a cricket ball would break one.
And considering how bombs seem to work in this movie, the second it hits the 2x4s, isn't it going to explode? Right?
Maybe it's more sophisticated than that, but I don't understand.
If it hits the 2x4s, it slides into a side
shaft. Did it even make any noise on impact? I can't remember.
I don't know.
What I don't understand is that, you said, velocity and sort of, it just looks like
it jumps around. It's like pinball. It hits the planks, it slides down an alternate shaft, and when it gets to the bottom of it, it does explode. As in, it blows up on impact. So why doesn't it blow up when it hits the planks?
Well, why would that be?
Yes, you're right. You're right. So we should.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
No, it was ridiculous. That.
So
we missed a crucial point, which was how the Doctor instigated this the action there with his buddy. Look.
Oh yes!
Oh God!
It's amazing. It's so good, and in a way, it's taking elements of the original serial and repurposing them, but in a shit way.
So he says to the Daleks, "You don't want to kill me because I can help you with the demagnetization problem."
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh my God, we're not going to kill you."
Okay.
Yet.
Speak quickly.
We don't have all day. 347 is making a stew and I didn't have lunch.
I'm not remembering this too well, but how do the Daleks look around exactly? Do they kind of slowly spin?
Yeah, they have the thing.
Oh, yeah.
The eye stalk
is
like a camera.
And
it's like, look!
Like a periscope.
And the doctor, they get the schoolyard pranked.
It's another thing this movie has in common with Back to the Future. That works many times.
Oh, you're right.
Michael J. Fox.
You're right. Yeah.
Although he has arguably more success than the Doctor does in this thing, because all he achieves really is, well, okay, what's their plan? He also kills most of the humans involved.
Actually, yes, because his plan is he runs off to the control microphone and says...
Which is explained in the serial.
Yeah, and says through the control microphone to all the Robo men, attack the Daleks. Okay, so here's a couple of things here. All the Robo men immediately remove their helmets. Why would they do that?
They seem to return to their former consciousness.
Well, why?
They immediately turn.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever.
No. Yeah.
No, they didn't. He didn't even put on a Dalek voice. Like he should have gone, attack the Daleks,
Which he does in the original. Hartnell does that in the original, and it's known as the oral control.
Yeah.
And Barbara tries it first, is shit at it, and the Doctor genuinely pushes her aside and goes, "You stupid woman in 1963 or 4, a man needs to do this," and then he says, "Kill all the Daleks," in a Dalek voice.
Even if it worked, they would still be attacking them in a more Robo-manish manner rather than just
taking off their like schools out for summer.
And later on, like when everything starts exploding, some of the Robomen are still alive, right? They run out alongside everyone else, and they don't attack humans anymore. They are now normal people in game
I think I
outfits.
can assume that the explosion may have disrupted, but pre-explosion, why they took their helmets off, A, is a problem. B,
Will they even follow the order anymore if they've taken off their helmet?
well, yeah, that's what does the helmet do? And the second part of that is the Doctor's plan is to slaughter like if these people can be saved, which they quite clearly can because the explosion happens relatively soon. Yeah. Why does he need to slaughter them? Like, can he not just let the bomb go off, let these people like return to their form of consciousness and then flee?
Let my people go is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely. Why does he have to? Why does he have to? Well, no, he isn't. He's opposite Moses. Like, why does he have to slaughter everyone?
no reason that I can think of.
Because shut up, that's why. Yada yada yada.
Ration those, I think.
Be Satwa.
Yeah, be Satwa. Okay, so
it's very, very weird.
That pretty much brings us to the end of the catastrophe. The explosion goes off, everyone flees, Daleks crumple into their comic end, which is...
everyone, for no apparent reason, rolls over the summit of a little tuft.
I don't know if you've ever been to rural Bedfordshire. Full of tufts.
I have no problem with there being a tuft. There wasn't much reason to roll over it that I could see.
To shield themselves from the horrible, horrible electromagnetism? I don't know.
There wasn't really anything happening.
Anyhow.
Even the Dalek spaceship, the flying saucer, tries to take off and escape. But here's where it's justified, where it's not justified in the original. The weird magnetic pull that has been induced by the explosion now draws and implodes every single Dalek.
Yes.
Which is actually pretty gruesome in a way. Someone is in
Some of them are quite Benny Hill funny. Like
most of them are Benny
We didn't
Hill.
actually see any actual Dalek corpse at all. We didn't, see any...
No, not a single one. In the first Cushing film we saw Dalek hands.
Yeah.
Not in this one. But we clearly know, having seen the first Cushing movie, like now we're in 66, we go to the cinema, we clearly know there is a living being in there.
I think that they maybe should have at least given us a glimpse of a dying Dalek or something.
I imagine the director just didn't want to
do a Dalek snuff movie.
I bet the director didn't
Possibly
even know.
Possibly the Dalek hadn't seen the first movie.
Yeah.
All the
same
series
director,
given
same director,
still going with,
Same director, same writer.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we're to the point where basically Earth's been saved. No one's absolutely sure on the numbers of how many humans are left.
Have died.
Died and are left.
Exactly.
So,
but I'm glad that the Daleks are dead. Sorry to cut you off there, but I'm glad that they explained that. We need to, just to clarify, a huge point of contention in the original serial is the Daleks in Bedfordshire, they die. Or the Daleks around the mine, they die. Yeah. But they have clearly established over the course of 6 or 7 episodes that the whole Earth has been enslaved. And they talk about India a lot. India is under our control. So there are thousands of Daleks on the Earth still around. And the serial ends with them now we're in a better position to fight back. Whereas here,
this is what we've saved our own asses, let's fuck off.
Yeah, or possibly actually there's no more fighting to be done because we've already won.
The electromagnetism fucks up every Dalek on Earth.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but
That's cool. So, a semi-satisfactory end to the...
I've heard that before.
It's vaguely anticlimactic.
Again.
Before. But we're at the end, and the human race, I think we're supposed to infer, is going to be fine.
Yeah. And, an unexpected departure from the original storyline, the Doctor does not pimp out his 10-year-old granddaughter to the guerrilla soldier that he met a few hours ago.
That's
God
true.
bless.
Everyone comes home. Everyone comes home to their thing. So, as we were arrived in the TARDIS, we're to lead it with PC Bumblefuck Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah.
And laughing like a maniac for some reason.
Yeah, he goes back a little bit earlier, dispatches the robbers.
Yeah.
End of story, basically.
Yeah. And then
wow.
It was a ride. Certainly was.
Yeah.
It was oddly kind of... There wasn't a whole lot of structure to it. It was just more like... Thing happens.
Is it here or is it in the beginning when the TARDIS dematerializes and someone tries to reach for the TARDIS?
That's the beginning.
Is it in the beginning? Okay.
And then...
Sorry, let's just make a point of that. Then turns to the camera and just goes...
What? It's like, what are you going to do?
Before... That was a great moment. I'd forgotten that. But actually, before he does that, he tries to grab the TARDIS, fails, stands around for a second, and then falls over.
He does talk. He talks to someone.
It's a weird thing, though.
Which I think also goes hand in hand with all the other people who just fall over for no reason whatsoever, even though they haven't been shot or
It was a
killed
nod
in
to
some
the
way.
first movie's slapstick aesthetic, maybe.
Yeah.
There's lots of that.
But it was very... Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Reviews.
How do we all feel about a seminal part of my childhood? How do we feel about the Daleks' invasion of Earth?
Is it too late to not shit on your child?
No, it is over.
Only if you can take all those turds and ram them back in.
It is.
I got that as well. I don't know why I said that. I apologise.
Wow.
Terrible. You guys are awful.
I didn't say that.
Anyway.
Rory, you start. What's your verdict here?
I mean, it was alright. I mean, it was certainly an improvement on the first one. Like
Okay,
I say,
in what way?
It didn't really... it was just better. I mean, it was more focused, I suppose.
Okay.
It made more sense for the most part. I mean, that's a contentious point to make, but I don't know, it was, on the whole, it felt a little more grounded than the first one.
Okay.
But that's meant the first one, it got to a point where I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I have hazy memories.
Bedfordshire would do that to you.
I don't know. I have to put a number on this. don't I?
Yeah.
I have to really quantify
0.0 to 5.0, dude.
Solid 3.
Wow.
Solid 3. I had
3.
fun watching this afternoon. It was good.
Imagine
Not
for a
just
moment
'cause
that
it's hard to imagine how I would feel about it if I hadn't watched it with riff tracks on. But to be honest, I'm remembering the film more than I'm remembering the riff tracks, which I think does it some credit.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Okay. 3.0 from you.
3.0. I mean, to be honest, there is an impact in there that I don't really care for the decimal places. Like that gets too exacting for me to put a real number on it. So I'm just going to go with a 3.
Sure.
But you guys go for it.
Okay. I'm going to defer to Ponkin first because.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, I think. My main bone. No, okay. What I mainly disapprove of in this case is how it differs from the original story, because not just would this have been an anticlimax if in 1966 I had gone to the cinema as a Doctor Who fan and I'd seen this, it would have been like, the fuck is going on? Where are Barbara and Ian? Who is this Louise character? Why have you left out a Slither? Blah, blah, blah. Not just that, but it actually kind of contradicts stuff from the first Cushing movie.
Are you saying when you used to go to see a film that's based on a TV serial, you want the film to be better?
You don't want it to be better, but
I
I don't think it's a question of quality so much as adherence to the original.
I don't know. See, I think you're projecting a little bit because we're sitting here in 2015 after a massive.
Can we just take a moment for that?
Sorry,
we're sitting here in 2015. Fucking hell!
It's 35 years from now.
I know we've kind of played this out. It's now February, but still,
135 years from now.
You need to get on board with this.
This is still an early record of this era.
Anyway, we're sat in 2015 after sitting on a wealth of Doctor Who. So the idea that someone might come to, whereas in the 60s it was much less of a thing. So you might go to the film, the cinema, having seen the thing in the Doctor Who.
I disagree.
With being less like a crazy fan.
I disagree. I think a lot of people would have gone like, oh, well, this is cool. I get to see the Doctor. As in, I get to see a story that has been turned into a film because all of us saw it on TV. Like, they've clearly picked the popular Dalek serials.
But the chances are you wouldn't remember the discrepancies because you only got to see it once.
You did.
I still think that you would realise what the differences are.
I don't know.
I think your hardcore fans might. I think your general populace were just happy to see something.
Yeah.
Okay, well, agree to disagree. Either way, I don't like... Okay, so I don't like the fact that they've distanced themselves from the original story and that the elements that they've chosen to take out or to cut out, maybe for budgetary reasons or whatever, scheduling reasons, are elements that actually made the story better, right?
You'd rather they cut the shit out.
Yes! Cut the shit out.
The directorial vision for this is more of the shitty stuff, less of the things that make it
I think maybe replace that scene where they almost run over 100
that's
chickens
how Michael Bay works,
with like...
Why did we not mention that?
We didn't discuss that. We didn't discuss the bit where Wyler, aka Tyler, almost runs over a bunch of chickens for no reason whatsoever.
Was this a Dalek-run chicken farm then?
Did you, at the end, in the end credits, did you see a note saying, like, no chickens were harmed during the production of this movie? No, I did not, because they could clearly not say that.
4 to 10 chickens were harmed during this film. Some of them are just injured. We don't know.
Maybe that scene was the 1966 equivalent of craft services. Anyway. So...
But they had dolly mixtures, so why were they even breeding chickens?
Dude, I don't know. Anyway, okay.
Sorry. I think that would be the point that broke you.
I don't like the differences. I think so much here has just been skipped. I think the slapstick is better than it was in the first Cushing movie. Much, much better, because there's less of it, but it's still completely inappropriate. But we have Bernard Cribbins, and he's a treasure. He's amazing. He's very charming on screen. He's a bumbly character that you can instantly not relate to, but like empathize with. Yeah. And Susan has less of a role in this one than in the previous one.
That was definitely a good
huge improvement, right? The first one was like, fuck, I don't want to see a 60-year-old run around screen. Do you want to say
why she was even in this?
Oh yeah, because Peter Cushing apparently requested that she be in the film as Susan. He refused to do the film without her.
We have no context for that, by the way.
Actually, no, I think
I don't know why he was passionate to have her.
To be fair, I think the phrasing was. to be fair to Cushing, I think the phrasing is that he insisted on that actress playing Susan, not that a Susan be included.
Yeah, but he didn't say anything about the people who played Ian and Barbara. He didn't seem at all opposed to, like, oh, let's replace Ian with Tom and Barbara with Louise? Okay, in summary, I'm going to give this, and please bear in mind, I gave the original 4.7. I'm giving this, because it's very entertaining despite being shit, 2.3.
2.3. That's a respectable score from you. From my point of view, I'm straight out of the gate gonna, establish my bias for it being just something I watched a lot as a child. So I don't know. All of the elements that I loved as a child are still kind of there for me. The kitsch design, like you said, the Daleks and the dolly mixture and those sort of things. It also kind of introduced me to the idea of dystopia. As a kid, it was my first. Certainly the only thing I can think of at that time that was like a projection of the future that's way bleaker than where we are now. Not like a super fun. Oh, we're on spaceships and shit. Just like this could go badly. Yeah, but I was a kid. Like I'd never seen any of those things at that point. I just had this and actually when you think about it in the 60s in that same sort of context of how many TV or film dystopian depictions there were, probably quite prime for it, probably quite a lot of them because, deeply entrenched in things, Cold War, post-second
I think there must have been tons of stuff.
But I think that, I don't know, I think it gives it that element of that whole idea of the last resistance, where actually there isn't some coordinating force to help you fight back. It's just you, motherfucker, and your pitchfork type of deal.
Sure.
Is one of the most frightening ideas. It still is, isn't it? Like, as something that could, like, zombie apocalypse being the new de rigueur.
Yeah.
That there's only you 10 fucking people on this island, and everyone else is zombies, and you
either that or diseases.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like, just anything that isolates as an idea. And I think that this is a great example of that. Like, as a piece of writing, obviously from the normal serial, but as a general kitsch interpretation in the 60s, and it speaks well that a kid in the 90s watched it a lot. I think I watched it a lot and really enjoyed it.
But is that
when I examine it back as a sort of
is that partly because you sort of didn't have a choice in the matter? Like
maybe,
the VHS was there and it was fed to you.
Nor did the audience in the 60s really. Like, I mean, the choices are much more limited.
Sure.
But I think in my later 20s, I look at it and I think, the sort of idea that, like, the would you watch it now sort of idea, like, would we, if it was, someone was to create an idea exactly like this, more modern, would I, yeah, probably. It's actually quite a solid concept still.
But it's stolen straight from the serial.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess the plot points...
It's not stolen.
Okay, no, it's a remake.
It's the same franchise.
It's a remake.
Yes.
Yeah. I think plot points...
They picked an idea that had potential.
The framing, the idea, the atmosphere is way more important than the actual plot points, I think. Like, the idea that there's this invasion of Earth, there's that you 5 fuckers or whatever, versus, like, what the Daleks are going to do. And that's probably one of the things they did well. They didn't really dwell on the fact that the Daleks didn't have to do anything. Like, they're going to create the Earth in this big spaceship. That wasn't actually important to you. It's not important to me when I watch it, when I don't think it's like, yeah, there's some peril. I don't really know what the peril is. To be honest, we're already in deep peril.
It kind of differs from most dystopian fiction in that this isn't something humanity has brought on itself.
Yes, that is the other thing. I did a lot of...
Which kind of makes
I did some vague research on this, actually.
What about War of the Worlds?
Well, I'm saying most.
Yeah, well, this is it.
But I mean, like, huge at the time.
It's in that line of things. And again, it's not really a real dystopia, because dystopias are basically utopias that are, like you said, of a human's own creation and parts. As a social commentary, there's no social commentary here.
No.
But actually, maybe it's something
maybe about lazy policemen.
It's either that, it's to do with the endeavour of the human spirit, something like that, and probably some sort of parallel to be made towards, like, the darker days of World War II, when, again, it plays very much that British sensibility of, the Empire alone at the darkest points, and that was, again, still in the 90s. That was a very clear idea for me.
Sure, but I don't think that's why they picked it. They picked it because they had already done the first Dalek story.
Oh yeah, no, I understand the commercial ideas of why it was done.
And also, just a point of trivia that we discovered before pressing record, that they were going to do a third one, which was going to be a remake of The Chase. And I think, thankfully, they didn't do it.
Well, I think the commercial reasons of why they did not choose that story arc is almost by the by for me, because as a standalone thing, if I'd seen nothing else but that movie, I think I could still get some enjoyment out of it. I think I was still pretty cool with it. I think the ideas stand. They don't have to be canonical. I think the reasons why that story arc might work, the reason why that movie might work, are not to do with the Doctor or the universe or the Whovian universe. I think it's to do with that idea of isolation.
I'll agree with that. Well, it's a post-apocalyptic story.
I think also the idea of giving a fuck about canon is something that didn't come in till the 90s.
Sure.
The earliest.
But so I'm getting to the point that I'm going to give it relatively high. I think probably a percentage point up, but just because it was my thing as a kid. Or a point up, as it were. I'm going to say 3.5.
Ooh. Well, congratulations. For the first time in 2 hours, I'm now completely flaccid.
3.5 is a good score, Dan.
I think that might conclude this Who Back When episode.
Did we have any mini reviews? Did anyone send anyone in?
So for this week's episode, instead of feedback, we have some light jazz music. You're playing a different song to me.
I was complimenting.
Well, if you've now listened to this and feel like you've actually got strong opinions that you'd like to share,
then please head on over to Who Back When and share them.
Absolutely, or comment on iTunes, or really any of the myriad of portals you get in touch with us.
Yeah, write a Guardian article.
You can hear even more of our weird thoughts online. Rory, are you on the tweet machine?
Technically.
At what is your handle now?
I can't even remember. I haven't.
You used to be captain yesterday.
I don't think so. There's some...
I was...
Retro Metronome.
Retro Metronome, that's what I am, apparently.
At Retro Metronome.
Actually, you're not going to find many tweets on that.
Spell it quickly now.
It's spelled without the G, because I thought the G would kind of ruin the flow of the...
Yeah, and for people who hadn't made that connection, that now made no sense.
Well, you know.
It's like psychologist, but without the Q.
Okay,
Nick is at
Nikulele, Nikulele. So, I mean,
like ukulele, but with Nick.
Absolutely. But to be honest, I think you all probably follow me already, so that's quite nice.
All of them?
Oh, I don't know. I've got a few, and we chat, don't we?
Oh yeah,
we chat on the Twitter sphere.
Hashtag your tweets to Nikulele. Hashtag hubris. Anyway,
hubris back when, please? Dr. Hubris. Oh my god, I'm on a roll.
Is that where we talk about the most hubristic moments of your life?
And I am at Punkin. Here's a soundbite of JD singing how you spell that.
Ponken, Punkin.
Thank you, JD. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely.
Catch you in the next one.
Yes. What is our next one?
In terms of classics, the next one is going to be The Smugglers. In terms of New Who, it's going to be
Girl in the Fireplace.
In terms of Audio Who, it's going to be Wirren Dawn. So in one of those, we'll see which one it is. I think probably Smugglers.
And I will be back for the third Cushing.
Okay, thanks very much for listening, guys.
Thank you. Ciao. Kablamo! Did you enjoy the show? Then please do what the cosmos compels you to and spread the gospel of Who Back When. Tell your friends. Don't have any friends? No problemo. Tell some strangers. Like us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Who Back When, all in one word. Are you on Google Plus? Then find us on Google Plus. That's plus Who Back When. And when you do, tell us why you're on Google Plus. Who Back When just got its very own Twitter account. No lie. So give us a follow. You guessed it. That's @Who Back When, all in one word. Check us out on SoundCloud, vote us up on Reddit, listen to us on Stitcher, and head on over to our website, whobackwhen.com, where you can leave a comment, submit a review of your own, and peruse our visual index of aliens, monsters, and more, which increases in kablamos with every episode. And lastly, give us a rating and review on iTunes. Not only would it make us super chuffed, and it really, really would, but as thanks, we will transmigrate your iTunes nom de plume into the credit list of trailers for fake Doctor Who audiobooks produced by Who Back When. Have a poke around our bonus episodes to make more sense of that. That's it. Rock on and be rad and excellent to each other. Catch your earballs in our next Classic Who review, New Who review, or, still funny, Audio Who review. Ciao.
Who Back When?